All right, so I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but YouTube is now offering a subscription service called YouTube Red. It's like Netflix or Hulu. It costs about $12 a month, but the first month is free. So that doesn't mean that I'm saying that you could start an account, watch all the shows that you want, and then cancel when the trial's over. Blink, blink. So why would you need to even bother doing such a thing? Well, here's why. So Cobra Kai is a 10-part series which continues the story of the 1980s classic, The Karate Kid. It stars William Zabka and Ralph Macchio, both reprising their roles as Johnny Lawrence and Daniel LaRusso, respectively. The Karate Kid is a film which I'm sure we all saw at one point or another. Just to give a quick recap, the series is about a young teenager who moves into a new school district, deals with some bullies, gets training from an old mentor, and wins a karate tournament, as well as the respect of his adversaries. Yes, it is predictable, but it's still a classic. And The Karate Kid Part 2, long story short, was way less engaging, and since it was set in Japan, was totally different from the first one. In fact, when I was a kid, I saw it at my friend's place. We watched like the first two Karate Kid movies, and I even fell asleep by the time the second one hit. I'm not kidding. It was pretty boring. But Part 3 was pretty much a remake of Part 1, just with way more over-the-top 80s villains, if you didn't know that was possible. And each sequel actually committed the two most common sequel flaws. They either make a film which is so different that it's nothing like its predecessor, or they resemble the first film so closely to the original that it offers us nothing new with the stories. And sequels are very notorious for doing this and practically are never better than the first. Except for The Dark Knight and Terminator 2 and Empire Strikes Back. And maybe Toy Story 2, but that's kind of, the jury is a little out on that. So that's like kind of 4 right there. But still, for the most part. So going back to Cobra Kai, so the series is set in modern day, exactly 34 years after the events of The Karate Kid. Well, it might seem like one hell of a gap at first. Again, the writers of the show did a great job adapting the story with the time period. To fill you guys in without giving away too much, Johnny is struggling to keep a job now and has been sort of down on his luck, while Daniel is a very successful and happy car salesman with he's a family guy, he's got all this money, and he's living the dream, living the dream. But so Johnny, who's now sort of, since I feel like the story this time focuses way more on him, he seems more like the protagonist or maybe the hero or anti-hero, but he decides to reopen the once famous Cobra Kai dojo. So the main example as to why the show Cobra Kai works as a sequel is because it knows how to flesh out our characters and enhance them in a way which feels old and new at the same time. Before 2018, moviegoers saw Johnny Lawrence as the stereotypical bully and sort of an uninspired 80s villain. Well, Daniel was like the classic good guy and the underdog, but this time the dynamic is very different. We actually learn more about Johnny's difficult upbringing and how, he was hurt when he lost the karate tournament and he lost his girlfriend to Daniel. Not to mention that, the relationship Johnny has with this young teenager, Miguel, who also gets bullied at school, shows us that he's really capable of doing some morally right things. And on the other hand, we also see Daniel doing some very immoral things throughout the show. A prime example is a pivotal scene where he tries to bar the Cobra Kai dojo from re-entering the annual karate tournament, despite, because of what happened 30 years ago. So, again, both leads clearly have, much more layers beneath them than just good and evil. Which again, I think that that's great. The show might be a little more complicated, but it adds so much to them. And the writers of the show really knew how to keep the viewers invested, and I think that that's really great. There are plenty of other story arcs and subplots packed into the series, none of which I'm going to go into right now because, I'm trying to keep it a spoiler-free review, and I'm still getting back into the hang of things. Just want you all to know it feels great to be back on YouTube doing what I love. Cobra Kai is a really great show. I would most definitely recommend checking it out. Not to mention the marketing that went on with promoting the show was really clever. I normally hate product placement in movies. I'm like the guy that calls it out. But you know, the Cobra Kai logo, I think, really has earned its place. I mean, I went to like Boston Calling a few months ago, and there were plenty of guys wearing, you know, like the classic dojo uniform. And I definitely may look into getting the merchandise. And if you enjoy this series as much as I did, I recommend you do the same. Just know that I was not paid to say that. You still rolling? Yeah. Okay. So good. So yeah, what I was saying before, right here. Have you guys like noticed how like men usually like hold a mug like this, right? They hold it like with like their like they grip the handle, and women they tend to hold it like this, right? You know what? I mean, has anyone ever have you noticed that? Is it just me? Is it just me?
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? You know, come on. What about airline food, man? Come on. You know,
You ever noticed?
You ever noticed about right? Some SpongeBob. Come on, man. Just rambling. All right. Reviews over.
I'll just let you seethe in it.
Nothing's going